Hi and welcome to my channel. My name is Holly and today I'm going to show you how I made this adorable 16-ounce nutcracker from a template that I found on Etsy. I just changed it to fit what I was looking for and added a little details and moved some things around. And it did take a long time to make, but it is super satisfying to see the end result. There are some things that I will change and probably will still change with this nutcracker, but let's go ahead and get into the project. Okay, so here is, I already started changing this and forgot to start recording, but this is the basis of the template that I started with, and I believe it's from Serene Designs. It's, I just looked up nutcracker templates and there was a beach theme, and so I just took away the beach theme, I changed the colors, I changed the shape of the chest and the belt and moved his facial features closer together, and then I just cut that pattern on my vinyl from pieces, scrap pieces that I just had in my permanent vinyl case, and kind of pieced them together because it doesn't matter if the pieces don't match perfectly because I'm going to be placing rhinestones over the top of it anyway. And just to be safe, because I am nervous that my vinyl is going to pull up or I'm going to mess up and pick off pieces of rhinestones and ruin the vinyl. So what I did after I applied the vinyl pieces is I went ahead and put a layer of epoxy right over the top of it, and that is going to get sanded, and that will be my base to start applying my rhinestones. I have all the different lengths and widths of, not lengths, but widths of vinyls, and I'm going to place my facial features right over the top of that largest piece in the middle. And to center those, I just use that line of my seam to center. Again, it doesn't matter that that's in the front because rhinestones are going to go all the way around this and you're not going to see any seams at all anyway. So I'm just using that as a guideline to measure and place my body parts and the buckle and the buttons and all of that, and then the layer of epoxy is going to go right over the top. But before I apply the epoxy, I need to make sure that that vinyl is sealed in so nothing repels. So I'm using Quick Coat. I'm going to apply a thin layer of that with my gloved hand on the turner and just let it spin until it's totally dry, and then I can go in with my epoxy application. After I take the tumbler off the turner, I use a 60 grit sand block and I sanded the entire surface of every section that's going to receive the glue, which is pretty much the entire tumbler, except for the very bottom. The bottom is going to remain stainless steel. To begin applying my rhinestones, I'm starting with the smallest details first. So I'm going to get the mustache, the cheeks, the eyes, the eyebrows, the gold buckle on the belt and the buttons, and then I'm going to let that sit. So for one day, I just applied rhinestones to those sections, let that sit for a few hours, and then I came back, and then I started at the top of the tumbler. So right now I'm just using black rhinestones from Amazon, and I'm going to actually be using a lot of Amazon rhinestones. And then for the eyes, I am using white pearls for the whites of the eyes, also from Amazon. But for the blue in the eyes, I decided to change it to a dark blue, and I'm using black Blurple, I want to say purple, but it's black Blurple AB rhinestones from PDB Creative Studios, and I am using size 6, which is, oh, is that a 3? It's not a 3 millimeter. It's size 6. Size 10 is 3 millimeters, so 6 is smaller than that. So that's what I'm using for the eyes. When applying my rhinestones to the smallest details, I like to start with the largest sections first, starting with like an inner corner or a section that's kind of like a focal point, and then work my way out to the smallest rhinestones that I'm using. So with the eye, it was pretty easy because they're the same size. So I just went around and just filled in the little sections. It's just a little round circle, and just made sure that my eyes were symmetrical, because when I was done, one eye was bigger than the other. So I had to pull one rhinestone out of one of the eyes and then move them so that they were symmetrical. With the buttons, I used, I think it's called Montana from PDB Creative Studios also, and I just placed one large rhinestone right in the center of each of those buttons, and then went around with my smaller black rhinestones just around the outside of each centerpiece, and then those just matched up perfectly. Now with the teeth, I'm using white rhinestones for the teeth, but when I applied my beige colored rhinestone, or pearls, not rhinestones, when I applied my beige colored rhinestones to the face of the nutcracker, my teeth kind of blended in, and it looks like my Nutcracker is toothless. So if I'm making this again, I'm going to make those teeth rhinestones or pearls larger, and then maybe put a darker base on the face to make sure that the teeth stand out a little bit more. So I'll have to mess with that and see if I can perfect that a little better, or maybe just do a completely, I could do like a pink face or a blue face or whatever. I guess it doesn't matter. You can mix it up. With the rhinestones for the cheeks, I am using PDB Creative Studio. I'm using 2 different sizes, I believe. I don't think I have one size on here. I think I'm using 2 different sizes. They are called Jelly Pink AB rhinestones from PDB Creative Studios, and I'm using 4mm and 5mm for the cheeks. So that is pretty much it for the details on the Nutcracker. Oh, the belt buckle is just, it's a gold rhinestone from Glitter Heart Co. It came in a little package of a box that Lauren Quigley put out, and it's the gold rhinestones that were in one of her boxes. So that's it for the details of the tumbler. Okay, so now that the details are done, now I'm going to flip my tumbler over, and I'm starting at the bottom, or it's actually the top, but it's upside down. So I'm starting at the rim of the hat, and I'm just going to place a row of rhinestones all around the rim of the tumbler. Now this is what I would have done different, and I actually might still remove these rhinestones. Once these rhinestones, it looks super cute as I was placing it, but it just did not fit the size of the tumbler, and it didn't match all the other rhinestones that I applied to the tumbler, because these little bobble half pearl rhinestones were just really too big. So I think what I might do later is just actually pluck each of those large pearls off the top of my tumbler and replace them with smaller pearls. At the moment, I don't really have anything that I can replace it with that matches the color scheme, and I really like this mix of colors. So I think I'm going to have to just order some and play with some different size pearls. So I'll just let this sit for a little bit, and later I'll just take my tweezers and pop those big half pearls off, try to save them so I can use them on a different project later, and then replace those areas with different pearls. I think I would be much happier with that. It just bothers me too much to see the size difference of the pearls. So you'll see later on when the tumbler is finished what I mean by the difference in sizes. I don't think I mentioned the glue that I'm using. It's Liquid Fusion. It's the only glue I ever use for applying rhinestones. It works just fine for me, but I've never used anything else, so I don't have anything to compare it to. So my little syringe that I usually use to apply the glue kept sticking on me, and it would dry up at the tip, and I was having major issues with that little tip that I applied on it. So every time I use the glue, I forget to rinse it out and wash it, so I always have to apply a brand new tip. So I have a case of tips that I just use over, or replace as needed, and today it was just giving me struggles. So toward the end of this project, I just tossed my entire syringe in the garbage, and I just started using the tip of my Liquid Fusion to apply my glue to the remainder of the project. For the trim on the hat, I used Jelly AB rhinestones from PDB Creative Studios also. It's the color Blue Zircon, and I used a mix of sizes from 610, 1620, and I think I even used a size 30 of those. And then the bottom of this Nutcracker, originally I wanted it to be blue, but then I changed, so then the rim of the trim of the hat didn't match. So it's okay. It still looks cute, but I also might change that. I don't know. I'm just all over the place with this guy. Okay, now for the face of the Nutcracker, I am applying beige half pearls. They came in the same package as the white half pearls. And I think my favorite part of this Nutcracker's face is the nose. So I wanted the nose to stand out and really look like a nose. So I used larger pearls for the nose section. And then when you see his little profile, you can see his little button of a nose poking out. And I think that is just the cutest little detail on his face. So I like his little button nose. So I continued applying the pearls, and this is day 2. After day 1, my shoulders were totally pinched. I was turning my head and my neck was getting stuck, and I was all hunched over and miserable. And I don't have one of those little fancy handheld turners that you can just use and turn. But what I do have is a whole slew of Deno's turners, and so I used my little mini turner here that it's just a regular turner you plug in. It has a quick release arm, and so it has a little button that you can snap your arm into. And so what I did is I just did not hook the button. I just let it hang loose, and I just turned it. It's like magic. I don't have to buy another separate turner for my rhinestone tumbler. I can just not snap the arm in completely and just turn it. Hello, why didn't I think of this a long time ago? So today, this was like on a Sunday that I did this, and my shoulders did not cramp up like they did before because I had better posture when I was applying the remainder of the pearls. So little tip for you, you can just use a regular turner and just turn that arm. After I finished up the face, I went straight into the white pearls, and I started on the edges and worked my way in. And on the bottom of the tumbler, I always start at the very rim on the bottom just to make sure that everything is nice and straight in a row, and I'm barely hanging that pearl off. Actually, I'm not hanging it off over the edge. I'm matching it up to the edge, making sure that the white underneath it is not exposed. So what I mean by that is if the pearl starts to slide back a little bit and it has too much of that white vinyl showing, I just tap it up and let the tip of the pearl touch the tip of the white vinyl just to make sure it's all lined up. So I'm applying the white rhinestones, and then I do have to finish his black belt because I didn't go all the way around, but I'm not going to show that in this video. And then I will start on the body. My original plan for the body of my Nutcracker is to match the tip of the hat, but like I said earlier, I didn't like the size of the rhinestones on the tip of the hat, so I was afraid to continue and put those on the body because I knew for sure I wasn't going to like it, and then I would have to remove more rhinestones or pearls. So I kept flipping back and forth between what I wanted to do with this body and how it was going to match everything else, and I kept working my way back to this set of rhinestones. These rhinestones have the coolest color shift. They're glass rhinestones. I got them from Amazon. They are called, the color is Ghost Shiny, so I'll link that below. When you look at the rhinestone from a certain angle, it looks like brown or gold, but then when it turns, it has a blue tint to it. So I kept flipping the rhinestones in my hand around and shining them underneath the light to see how the colors move. And I really loved them, and I thought, well, the base of the vinyl underneath the rhinestones is blue. So if these rhinestones have a shift of color that turns blue, then it will match with the vinyl underneath, and the blue vinyl won't stand out so much. And I really, really love this color. So I just went for it, and I am so happy I did. These are so beautiful, and it made the whole tumbler come together, minus the hat that now really stands out like a sore thumb. So yeah, so from the head down, I love this tumbler, love, love, love. From the blue hat rim up, no, I don't love the tumbler. So lessons learned. Sometimes things just don't come together as planned, but wait till you see the final result of this tumbler. It's so shiny and pretty and just cute. Finishing up my very last little detail section down below there and closing in that hole with the smallest rhinestones that I can get to fill in all those little parts. So for the whole entire tumbler, I use the scatter method. It's really the only way I know how to rhinestone. The honeycomb doesn't work for me. It always comes out. I don't have enough practice with honeycomb. So I use the scatter method for the entire tumbler, used all different size half pearls and rhinestones all mixed together just to fill in little sections. That nose is super cute. And this is the final result before washing. So I'm going to let this sit for a couple days, and then I'm going to take my toothbrush, a soft toothbrush with some Dawn dish soap, and I'm just going to brush in between all the rhinestones and shine it up. But here it is complete, and I love it, minus the hat. And thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those below. I hope you enjoyed this project. It took a weekend to make, but it was fun.